My brother got $100,000 for a luxury trip to Monaco. They said I deserved nothing. 5 years later, I made Forbes 30, under 30, and my brother called our father with his voice cracking, asking how I have all that. You won't believe what happened next. Before we continue, if you've ever been told you're worthless by the people who should lift you up, hit that subscribe button right now. This story is about to get real, and you don't want to miss what happens next. My name is Madison Calloway. The smoke from the backyard grill stung my eyes that afternoon in Orlando. It was the kind of Florida heat that makes the air shimmer and your shirt stick to your back within minutes. Dad raised his beer high and announced to everyone gathered around the pool, $100,000 for Brandon to study luxury management in Monaco. The crowd erupted in cheers. Relatives pulled out their phones to film. Mom beamed with pride. My little brother Brandon stood there grinning, soaking in all the attention like he'd earned it. I waited for the noise to die down, then asked quietly, "What about my video editing course? The one we talked about last month?" Mom didn't even look up from her plate. "Madison, you're not worth a dime," she said flatly. The words hit harder than the brutal Florida sun beating down on us. I felt every eye at that table turn away from me. The conversation moved on like I hadn't spoken at all. I tossed my napkin on the table, grabbed my phone, and booked an Uber to Miami International Airport right there. No goodbye, no tears. Just the sound of the door slamming behind me as I walked out of that house for the last time. 5 years later, Brandon was scrolling on his phone by that same pool when he spotted my name. Forbes trade-you on a trade-you list. Madison Calloway, founder of Calloway Creative Studios, valued at $15 million. His hands started shaking. He called Dad, his voice cracking. "Dad, how does she have all that?" But let me back up and tell you how I got there. Because this isn't just a revenge story. It's a story about what happens when you stop waiting for validation from people who will never give it. I remember the Christmas when everything became crystal clear. I was in 3rd grade, and it was Brandon's big moment. He was 7 years old, and our parents had turned the house into a full-blown holiday spectacle. Dad dragged in this 12-foot artificial tree from storage, loaded with white LED lights that pulsed to Christmas carols pumping through the sound system. Guests showed up in tacky sweaters, clutching cups of spiked eggnog while Mom directed the whole thing like a production. Brandon sat on the thick carpet, and Dad slid over this shiny gold-wrapped box. Brandon tore it open to reveal a top-of-the-line DJI drone with a 4 Kelvin's camera and smart sensors. "This will teach you to aim high in business, kid," Dad said, messing up Brandon's hair. The crowd went wild. Relatives whipped out their phones filming for social media with tags like "next big entrepreneur" and "future CEO." Mom fussed over the controls. "He's got the spark," she kept saying to anyone who'd listen. Brandon launched the drone inside the house, buzzing it close to the ceiling fan. Everyone laughed when it nearly crashed. My Christmas came the following year. Same massive tree, same twinkling lights, but the vibe was completely different. Dad handed me a plain white envelope. "Something useful this time, Madison," he said. Inside was a Miami Metro card loaded with rides. "Time to handle the city solo," he added. "Toughens you up." Mom nodded in agreement. "Self-reliance beats fancy toys," she said. No drone. No excitement. No celebration. Just the transit card and a lecture about responsibility that dragged on into the night. I pocketed the card and stepped onto the patio while everyone's attention shifted back to Brandon practicing his thank you speech. The pool glowed under the patio lights, and I dangled my legs in the water, feeling the cool bite against the humid air. That transit card became my ticket to freedom in ways they never intended. I took long rides alone to the downtown public library. I'd camp out in the tech corner, teaching myself video editing on the shared computers. Cutting footage, layering effects, matching sound to visuals. The librarians got to know me. One of them, Mrs. Rodriguez, would save the best computer for me in the corner. "You're here more than the college kids," she'd say with a smile. "Keep it up." While Brandon got driven to private sports camps and exclusive workshops, I rode that Metro card to free YouTube tutorials and library programs. I learned Premiere Pro, After Effects, DaVinci Resolve. Every program I could get my hands on. High school was more of the same. Brandon got a car for his 16th birthday. A used BMW that Dad spent weeks detailing. I got a lecture about how walking builds character. Brandon's college fund was discussed openly at dinner. Full ride to wherever he wanted, they promised. When I asked about community college, Dad laughed. "You can figure that out yourself," he said. "You're resourceful." Brandon struggled through high school with C averages, but Mom would brag about how he was finding his path. I maintained a 4 gigapascals while working part-time at a local coffee shop, and nobody noticed. Senior year, Brandon announced he wanted to study luxury hospitality management in Monaco. It was this exclusive program that cost a fortune, $100,000 for 2 years. I'll be managing 5-star hotels, he said excitedly at dinner. Meeting international clients, learning the business. Dad nodded approvingly. That's the kind of ambition we like to see. We'll make it happen, son. Mom started planning immediately. Fundraising from relatives, taking out loans, selling some investments. Whatever it took to send Brandon to Monaco. Around that same time, I'd been building my video editing portfolio. I had a small YouTube channel where I posted montages and edits. Nothing viral, but steady growth. I'd gotten into a really good online program for advanced video production. It cost $3,000. Just $3,000. I'd saved up half from my coffee shop job. I needed $1,500 more. That's when the backyard barbecue happened. The one I told you about at the beginning. Dad's big announcement about Brandon's $100,000 Monaco adventure. Everyone cheering and celebrating. And me, sitting there thinking about my $3,000 dream that nobody cared about. When I asked about help with the editing course, Mom's response was like a slap. Madison, you're not worth a dime. She didn't whisper it. She didn't pull me aside. She said it in front of everyone at that table. And nobody defended me. Nobody said, hey, that's harsh. Nobody said, maybe we could help Madison too. They just went back to celebrating Brandon. So I left. I walked into that house, grabbed my backpack, threw in some clothes, my laptop, and the few things that mattered. The Uber took me to the airport. I bought a one-way ticket to Los Angeles on my credit card. 23 years old, $1,500 in my bank account, and absolutely nothing to lose. I didn't call my parents. I didn't explain. I just disappeared. The only person I stayed in contact with was my Aunt Patricia. She was Dad's older sister, and she'd always been different from the rest of the family. She'd moved to California years ago and built her own life as an artist. Patricia, I'm in LA. I texted her from the airport. Can I crash on your couch for a week? She responded immediately. Come straight here. I've got the spare room ready. Patricia lived in a small Venice Beach apartment with exposed brick walls and art supplies everywhere. She took one look at me walking through her door and said, "They finally pushed you out, didn't they?" I nodded, not trusting myself to speak. Good, she said firmly. Best thing that could have happened to you. Now you're free. That first week in LA, I cried a lot. Not because I missed my family, but because I was processing years of being invisible. Years of watching Brandon get everything while I got lectures about character building. Patricia let me feel it all, then she sat me down. Here's what's going to happen, she said. You're going to take that pain and turn it into fuel. You're going to build something so successful that they'll choke on their regret. And you're going to do it without them. I enrolled in the video editing course that same week. Paid for it with my credit card. I'd deal with the debt later. Patricia let me stay rent-free for 3 months while I got on my feet. In exchange, I helped her with social media for her art business. I created content for her Instagram, edited videos of her painting process, built her online presence. Her followers went from 300 to 10,000 in 2 months. That's your gift, she told me. You see what people want to watch. You understand the rhythm. I started taking freelance gigs on Fiverr and Upwork. $5 video edits at first. Terrible pay, but I needed the reviews. I'd work from midnight to 6 a.m. while Patricia slept, then crash for a few hours before my afternoon editing class. The grind was brutal, but it was mine. Every dollar I made was because of my skills, not because someone decided I deserved it. My first big break came from a lifestyle influencer named Zara. She'd found my Fiverr profile and liked my sample work. I need a month's worth of content edited, she messaged. 30 videos. What's your rate? I quoted her $1,500, expecting her to negotiate down. She said yes immediately, and I realized I'd undercharged. But that job changed everything. Zara's content went viral that month. Her engagement tripled. She started getting brand deals and told everyone it was because of my editing. Suddenly, I had 5 influencers reaching out. Then 10. Then 20. I raised my rates to $100 per video. Then $200. Then $500. Within 6 months, I was making more money than I'd ever imagined. I moved out of Patricia's place into a tiny studio in Santa Monica. It was barely bigger than a closet, but it was mine. I invested in better equipment. A proper camera, professional editing software, a second monitor. I was building something real. My YouTube channel started growing too. I'd post behind-the-scenes content about my editing process. Tips and tricks I'd learned. One video about color grading hit 2 million views. Brands started reaching out directly. Patricia and I would celebrate small wins over cheap wine on her balcony. "You're doing it," she'd say. "You're actually doing it." A year into LA, I hired my first assistant, a film school dropout named Marcus who was brilliant with motion graphics. Then I hired a second editor to handle overflow work. Callaway Creative Studios officially became an LLC. I was 24 years old, running a legitimate business. During this entire time, I had zero contact with my parents or Brandon. They didn't have my new number. They didn't know where I lived. I'd blocked them on all social media. Patricia was my only connection to that old life, and she respected my boundaries completely. She'd give me updates only when I asked. "Brandon's in Monaco," she told me once. "Posts a lot of pictures of yachts and expensive restaurants." I nodded, but didn't ask for more details. I didn't care. My second year in LA, I landed a massive client. A tech company launching a new product wanted a viral campaign. They'd seen my work with influencers and wanted that same energy for their brand. The contract was for $50,000. I negotiated equity instead of part of the fee. 2% of their marketing division. They agreed, thinking it was a weird request from a small studio. That tech company's product exploded. They got acquired 18 months later. My 2% equity turned into $500,000 overnight. I was 25 years old with more money than my parents had made in a decade. I didn't buy a fancy car or a huge house. I reinvested everything back into the business. Hired more editors, motion graphic artists, social media strategists. I moved Callaway Creative into a real office space in Culver City. Exposed brick walls, standing desks, a coffee bar. I wanted to create the kind of workplace where creatives felt valued, where talent was recognized and compensated fairly. Everything my family had never done for me. The business kept growing. We were doing campaigns for major brands, music videos for rising artists, commercial spots that aired during prime time. Revenue hit 7 figures in year 3. Forbes reached out about a profile when I was 27. They were doing a piece on self-made entrepreneurs under 30. Someone had nominated me. I almost declined the interview. I didn't want attention. I didn't want my family to find out what I built. But Patricia convinced me. "You've earned this recognition," she said. "Don't hide your success because you're afraid of their reaction." The Forbes interview happened over Zoom. They asked about my background, my journey, what inspired me. I gave them the professional version. Self-taught editor who took a risk, moving to LA, built a business from scratch through hard work and client relationships. I didn't mention my family. Didn't mention the $100,000 Monaco trip or the "you're not worth a dime" comment. That pain was mine. I didn't need to share it with the world. The Forbes list came out on a Tuesday morning. Madison Callaway, 28, founder and CEO of Callaway Creative Studios. Company valuation, $15 million. Known for viral campaigns and authentic brand storytelling. My phone exploded with messages. Clients congratulating me. Industry people reaching out for partnerships. And then, buried in the notifications, a text from an unknown number. "It's Brandon. Saw you on Forbes. Can we talk?" I stared at that message for a long time. 3 years of silence, and that's what he leads with? I deleted it without responding. 20 minutes later, my old number that I'd abandoned rang. Patricia called me. "Your brother's been calling me non-stop," she said. "Your parents too. They saw the Forbes article." "What do you want me to tell them?" "Tell them nothing," I said. "I don't owe them an explanation." Patricia was quiet for a moment. "They're asking how you did it," she finally said. "Your dad keeps saying it doesn't make sense. Brandon's confused about how you have more success than him after his expensive Monaco education." I laughed, but there was no humor in it. "That's exactly the point," I said. "They gave him everything and taught him nothing. They gave me nothing and I learned everything." That night, I was working late at the studio when Marcus knocked on my office door. "There's a couple here to see you," he said uncertainly. "They say they're your parents." My stomach dropped. "Tell them I'm not available," I said. He shifted uncomfortably. "They said they'll wait. They're not leaving." I took a deep breath and walked out to the lobby. There they were, Mom and Dad, looking older than I remembered. Smaller somehow. Dad's construction company had apparently hit some financial troubles. I'd heard through Patricia that they'd had to downsize. Mom had taken a part-time retail job. "Madison," Mom started, her voice shaking. "We saw the article. We had no idea you were doing so well." I crossed my arms and said nothing. "We wanted to reach out," Dad added. "To congratulate you. To maybe reconnect. 3 years, I said quietly. 3 years of silence. You didn't wonder where I went. You didn't try to find me. And now that I'm successful, suddenly you want to reconnect. We thought you needed space, Mom said weakly. No, I corrected her. You didn't think about me at all. Just like you never did. Dad's face reddened. That's not fair, he said. We always loved you. You loved Brandon, I shot back. You tolerated me. There's a difference. The lobby was silent except for the hum of computers from the editing bays. We made mistakes, Mom admitted. But you're our daughter. Family is family. I shook my head. Family is supposed to build you up, I said. Support your dreams. Believe in you. You told me I wasn't worth a dime. Remember that? At the barbecue when you were celebrating Brandon's $100,000 trip? Mom's eyes filled with tears. I was upset that day, she said. I didn't mean it. Your parents too. They saw the Forbes article. What do you want me to tell them? Tell them nothing, I said. I don't owe them an explanation. Patricia was quiet for a moment. They're asking how you did it, she finally said. Your dad keeps saying it doesn't make sense. Brandon's confused about how you have more success than him after his expensive Monaco education. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. That's exactly the point, I said. They gave him everything and taught him nothing. They gave me nothing and I learned everything. That night, I was working late at the studio when Marcus knocked on my office door. There's a couple here to see you, he said uncertainly. They say they're your parents. My stomach dropped. Tell them I'm not available, I said. He shifted uncomfortably. They said, they'll wait. They're not leaving. I took a deep breath and walked out to the lobby. There they were. They tried to argue, but Marcus had already called building security. 2 guards escorted them out while they protested and made promises to do better. I watched them go and felt nothing. No anger, no sadness, just relief. That night, I called Patricia. They came to my office, I told her. Asked for money. She sighed. I was afraid of that, she said. Your dad called me last week asking about your company. How much it was worth. I told him to leave you alone, but he clearly didn't listen. Thank you for having my back, I said. Always, she replied. You know what I'm proud of? What? You didn't give in, she said. You held your boundary. That takes real strength. Over the next few weeks, I got more messages. From extended relatives I barely knew. From family friends. Even from Brandon again, this time with a longer message about how he wanted to learn from me. How his Monaco experience hadn't translated to real career success. How he was struggling to find work in the luxury hospitality industry. I didn't respond to any of them. Instead, I focused on building something meaningful. I launched a scholarship fund for young creators from low-income backgrounds. Kids who had talent but no resources. Who had dreams but no support system. The Madison Callaway Creative Scholarship. Full funding for editing equipment and online courses. Mentorship from my team. A pathway into the industry that didn't require rich parents or expensive degrees. I funded it with $500,000 from my equity windfall. Patricia cried when I told her about it. You're breaking the cycle, she said. You're giving kids what you never had. The scholarship program launched with a big event in LA. Young creators showcasing their work. Industry professionals offering advice and connections. I gave a speech about my journey, though I still didn't mention my family by name. Some of you come from families that don't understand your dreams, I said. Some of you have been told you'll never make it. Some of you have watched others get opportunities while you got nothing. I'm here to tell you that their doubt doesn't define you. Your work defines you. Your persistence defines you. Your willingness to bet on yourself when nobody else will, that's what defines you. The room erupted in applause. After the event, a shy teenager approached me. Her name was Luna, and she'd won one of the scholarships. Thank you, she said quietly. My parents think video editing is a waste of time. They wanted me to study something practical. This scholarship means I can pursue it anyway. I hugged her. Make them eat their words, I told her. Build something so undeniable they have to recognize it. Forbes did a follow-up article 6 months later. Madison Callaway's company had acquired a rival studio and expanded into AI-enhanced editing tools. Company valuation jumped to $40 million. They interviewed me about the acquisition and the scholarship fund. At the end, they asked about my inspiration. What drives you? I thought carefully before answering. I spent years being invisible to the people who were supposed to see me, I said. Now I use my visibility to help others who feel invisible. That's the real success. Not the money or the recognition. It's being able to say, I see you, I believe in you, I'm investing in you. To the kids who need to hear it. The article went viral. Not because of the business stuff, but because of that quote. Thousands of people commented about feeling invisible in their own families. About being the overlooked sibling. About parents who played favorites. My DMs filled with stories that mirrored my own. I read every single one. Responded when I could. Started a private mentorship program for young creators who came from difficult family situations. This became bigger than revenge. It became about building a community of people who'd been underestimated and decided to prove everyone wrong. A year after the Forbes article, I got a message from Brandon. It was longer this time. More vulnerable. He admitted that Monaco had been a waste. That he'd partied more than he'd studied. That the luxury hospitality industry was harder than he thought. That he was working temp jobs at event venues and struggling to pay rent. He said he understood now why I'd left. That he saw how differently our parents had treated us. That he was sorry for never standing up for me. I read his message 3 times. Then I wrote back. I appreciate your honesty, I typed. And I'm sorry you're struggling. But I need you to understand something. I didn't build this to spite you. The room erupted in applause. After the event, a shy teenager approached me. Her name was Luna, and she'd won one of the scholarships. Thank you, she said quietly. My parents think video editing is a waste of time. They wanted me to study something practical. This scholarship means I can pursue it anyway. I hugged her. Make them eat their words, I told her. Build something so undeniable they have to recognize it. Forbes did a follow-up article 6 months later. I built this to save myself. You were given every advantage and opportunity. What you did with those advantages was your choice. I was given nothing, and I chose to create everything. Those are 2 very different paths. I can't fix your situation, and I won't try to. But I wish you well in figuring it out. Brandon responded immediately. Can I at least buy you coffee sometime? I'd like to hear your story. How you did it. I thought about it for a long time. That dad's construction business never recovered. That mom's working full-time retail now. That Brandon bounced between jobs before finally finding something stable managing a mid-tier hotel. I don't feel satisfaction hearing about their struggles. But I don't feel guilt either. They made their choices. They built a family structure where one child was valued and the other was dismissed. The consequences of those choices are theirs to carry. My life now is everything I wanted and more. Callaway Creative Studios has offices in LA, New York, and Austin. We employ 75 people, all paid well above industry standard. We're known for launching careers and creating viral campaigns that actually matter. The scholarship fund has helped 200 young creators get their start. 12 of them now work for me. Several have launched their own successful studios. I bought a penthouse in Santa Monica with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. It's minimally furnished, lots of open space, the opposite of my childhood home that was always cluttered with stuff meant to impress neighbors. Patricia has dinner with me every Sunday. We cook together, talk about our weeks, plan new art projects. She's the only family I need. Last month, I was invited to give a TEDx talk about building success after family rejection. I almost said no. The topic felt too personal. But Patricia convinced me that my story could help people. So I stood on that red circle and told the truth. I told them about the Monaco trip and the Metro card. About being told I wasn't worth a dime. About leaving with nothing and building everything. The talk has been viewed 4 million times. The comments are full of people sharing their own stories of family favoritism. Of being the overlooked child. Of breaking free and building success on their own terms. I read these comments late at night when I can't sleep. When the old pain tries to resurface. And I remember why I share my story. Not for revenge. Not to hurt the people who hurt me. But to tell other invisible children that they're not actually invisible. That someone sees them. That their dreams matter even if their family doesn't believe in them. That success built on your own terms is sweeter than anything handed to you. My parents will never apologize. They'll never acknowledge the damage they did. They'll never admit that their favoritism pushed me out of the family and into a better life. And I've made peace with that. Because I don't need their validation anymore. I don't need them to be proud of me. I don't need them to finally see my worth. I see my own worth. My team sees it. My mentees see it. The hundreds of young creators I've helped see it. That's enough. More than enough. Last week, I was reviewing applications for the next round of scholarships. One application stood out. A 16-year-old from Orlando whose parents dismissed her creative dreams. Who was told to focus on something practical? Who felt invisible in her own home? I approved her scholarship immediately. Then I wrote her a personal note. I see you, I wrote. I believe in you. Your family's doubt is not your destiny. Build something so undeniable they have to recognize it. And even if they never do, you'll have built it anyway. That's what matters. Callaway Creative Studios has offices in LA, New York, and Austin. We employ 75 people, all paid well above industry standard. We're known for launching careers and creating viral campaigns that actually matter. The scholarship fund has helped 200 young creators get their start. 12 of them now work for me. Several have launched their own successful studios. I bought a penthouse in Santa Monica with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the ocean. My quiet question about the $3,000 course. My mother's devastating response. You're not worth a dime. She was wrong. I'm worth millions. Not because of the money in my bank account or the company valuation, but because I proved to myself that I could survive without them, that I could thrive without them, that their rejection was redirection towards something better. My brother got $100,000 for a Monaco trip. They said I deserved nothing. 5 years later, I built an empire from that nothing. And that's the best revenge of all. Not hurting them back, but succeeding so completely that their opinion became irrelevant. If you're listening to this and you've been dismissed by your family, hear me. You are worth everything. Your dreams matter. Your path matters. And the people who can't see it will become smaller and smaller in your rearview mirror as you drive toward your future. Hit that subscribe button if this resonated with you. Share this story with anyone who needs to hear that family rejection isn't the end. It's just the beginning. This is Madison Callaway, signing off. Remember, the best revenge is becoming undeniable. Thanks for listening.